Hey, like I'm a long time listener, going back to the Joe Madison days.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
I'm
Thank you.
calling because I have a niece and nephew, and they're mixed family. Mother is black, father is white, both medical professionals. We went to see Wicked outside of Mobile, Alabama, in the city of Fairhope, and you could
Yep.
see and feel the tension there. But going about more than halfway in the movie, my niece got upset. At 12 years of age, she got it. She got the political implications that were being shown on the screen. And I walked out with her, and she says, the woman who was green, she is actually black. She is me. And, I felt for her because I said, you stay black. Don't ever forget that. And, I just wish that movie would have premiered before the elections. Maybe it
Mm.
would have had a difference, but
Yo, that's actually,
You know
bro,
what?
Aaron, that's a good comment, bro. For real. I,
You think it would
I,
have made a difference?
I don't know, but I do think that what he is saying, that's a
You know,
good. That's
you know what
good.
it you know what it underscores the void in this marketplace of exchange of information of people that can have this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Very few. The fact that we could have this and the lines were lit for 3 hours. People wanting to talk about this movie that just is free now on Peacock, as
Yeah.
Ginger pointed out. This it wasn't Ginger, it's another person. But this conversation, we weren't having these kind of conversations leading up to the election. This is what this election was about to me.
Mhm.
But I appreciate Aaron. Thank you for sharing that. Maybe we can get a couple more calls and let's go to Tracy in Ohio. Welcome. Tyler Merritt is here. Hello to you.
Hey, Tracy.
All right,
Hello?
Tracy. Hello.
Hello? I'm here. Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
How you
Okay.
doing?
Good.
Yeah,
Welcome.
yeah. Welcome. Good Monday.
Yes.
I wanted to say that I wanted to comment about the guy you had a couple of hours ago talking about he didn't see the movie and then he voted for Trump. I think he needed to. I think you got him on that one. And I wanted to say this also. I would love for you as a panel, your call screener, Reese Colbert, and Clay Kane form what I would call a super debate team going against some knuckleheads on Fox. You think they would go for that?
I wouldn't go for it. I'm not wasting my time talking to people who are not worthy to talk to me. We're not on the same level. I don't play in the mud. Me personally.
You think
So
they wouldn't do that, Karen?
they might. They might. I'm not doing it.
I think what's
Okay.
tricky. I think what's tricky too, though, Tracy, is when you're dealing with folks, especially that work on Fox News and some of those media outlets that are purposely driven for divisiveness, is that the people you're talking to oftentimes don't even actually believe what they're saying. So
Exactly.
giving the
And
energy to those individuals is literally a waste of our space and time.
that's it. Without, but I meant what I said. Tracy, thank you. Let's go to Tandra, Houston.
Houston,
Yes. Come on, step through, Tandra. Let's go.
So, two things. I did see Wicked. I saw a black woman the entire time. I actually hate musicals. All of my friends know that. However, because I love movies, so I love the cinematography of it all. I love the costumes of it all, and I love the singing. And I also love the controversy that people hated that a black woman was pushed to the forefront in that movie, and it was not Glenda. I loved it for those reasons. And also on the show Better Man, the one with the monkey that was singing, it was
Okay.
actually about a white man, and he
yeah,
shows
Rob.
himself at the end of the movie, and you get to see him in the different roles that the monkey was actually playing throughout. You get to actually see him actually in those roles and in those same costumes and see how that was his true story.
Oh,
Rob, it's
okay.
I forget his name is Rob. He was in a boy band in London, super famous. The fact that I can't remember his name right now, I feel embarrassed for. But Houston be representing.
Yes. Houston, stand up. Tandra, thank you. You came through. Last call. Carolyn, really quickly. Maryland. Carolyn and Maryland.
Hello, Karen and Tyler. I wanted to add one more piece. Instead of saying less, I'm going to say more about this movie, Wicked. my point is the invite was for green girl, black girl, Ursula, because she had the power and the gift. She had the invite. The train stopped for her, and she got on, and then she stood right there and turned to the other girl and said, "Why don't you come with me?" I like to broke the armrest.
See, and that's a lesson. We have to go, but that's a lesson. You travel far by yourself. You travel far in those moments when those are your moments. Let's stop bringing people with us to parties that they weren't invited to. I know that's a hard thing. We might need to pick that message up tomorrow. Carolyn, you left us with a gem.
Hello, everyone. This is T.S. Skydoll Ariel, and I'm here to talk to you guys about Wicked and The Wiz. Yes, you heard it right. The Wiz and Wicked. But before we get started, could you please click that link below, like, share, and subscribe, follow, comment. Thank you very much. And if you don't remember who I am the T.S. Skydoll from the Disney World Magic Kingdom Parks Parades, Princess Ariel Parades at the park from Orlando, Florida. Yes, I was one of those Florida girls for about a decade or so working at Disney. So if you guys want to hear any of my stories, please take out the time to check out lulubooks.com. That's where I have most of my ebooks being posted, and those are all fictional works. A lot of these stories kind of curtail around my life as a trans woman and my journey, and these stories kind of in some way tell my story. So I do appreciate your support. And with that, let's go ahead and get started talking about Wicked and The Wiz. After watching Wicked, I immediately went to YouTube and searched the web to see what everyone's buzz was about. And I saw a lot of, correlations with the original The Wizard of Oz and how all the stories tie together around this current film called Wicked in the stage play. And I'd never really seen the stage play. I'd seen it come to town and go. I didn't really go and see it because at the time, I just, for whatever reason, I never made it to go and see it. It wasn't high on my priority list because I just didn't know much about it. And I feel embarrassed now, having to admit that. But after watching everybody's film reviews and everyone's tie-in, I kind of noticed that no one was talking about The Wiz, even though it's an adaptation. I felt like it still needed to be included in all of this because it was such a big part of my childhood, and so many people that I know actually love that film with Diana Ross and Michael Jackson, and a whole cast of just excellent performers, Richard Pryor, Mabel King, and the list goes on and on. And so I decided to just go ahead and throw my 2 cents in and say, hey, let me go ahead and see how The Wiz ties into Wicked and if there's any correlation that can kind of fit into the drama. And one of the first things I noticed right away is the silver slippers. If you remember Elphaba's little sister, when she arrives to the school, the father gives her these really beautiful shoes, and they were silver, and I kind of was like, wow, they're not the red shoes. But then after hearing everybody's original adaptation, the slippers were actually silver. Then I remembered, oh, the ones that were in The Wiz actually were silver also. Just in case there's anyone who hasn't seen The Wiz, I would just find that odd that anybody, but there could be some of y'all out here that haven't seen it. It was an adaptation with an all-black cast based on the original The Wizard of Oz. The Wiz. And if you don't know the storyline, I'll just kind of give you a brief um, storyline. It's Dorothy is living with her Aunt Em in Manhattan in this apartment, and Aunt Em wants Dorothy to get her own place because she's getting old and she feels like Dorothy should, be looking for a husband and getting married. Her and Toto needs to have their own life. And Toto decides he wants to go out for a little outside stroll, and Dorothy goes chasing after him, and they get caught up in a snowstorm in a snow scoops them up and whirls them up into the air, and Dorothy and Toto ends up in the hands of Lena Horne, who plays Glinda the Good Witch. And she blows them over into Oz, and Dorothy hits a sign, and it kills the Wicked Witch of the West. So the sign flattens her out, breaking the spell over Oz, which is kind of like a graffiti park that the witch had kind of put the munchkins on the wall as graffiti, like they were kind of stitched into the wall and they couldn't move. And when that sign fell on her and killed her, they came out of the walls and they were just really stiff because they had been up there for so long. And they were so happy that Dorothy came, they started celebrating. And then a lady came down. She was a witch by the name of Mrs. One, like the number one. And she was into like playing numbers and running numbers. And she was the one who first told Dorothy about, what she had done by killing the witch, and that she was her evil sister from the West, Eveline, played by Mabel King, was going to be looking for her, so she had best get to the Wiz because could help her get back to wherever she was trying to go to in Park Place, Manhattan, or I can't remember the actual address, but she was trying to get back to Manhattan because she was somewhere she didn't recognize. Now, Michelle Yeoh plays Madame Morrible in Wicked, and she was at the school trying to help Elphaba learn how to control her magic powers. And I like to think like how I think this character, Madame Morrible and Glinda from The Wiz, they kind of both control the weather patterns. Because remember, in this version, she pushes Dorothy over the rainbow into Oz, which is, more like a city for the Munchkins. And in this storyline, Madame Morrible is controlling the weather around Elphaba, who eventually becomes, the Wicked Witch of the West. And so I just kind of like those two similarities. I want to point that out. Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande were excellent as Elphaba and Glinda in Wicked in the movie. I just thought it was funny how they both fell in love with the same guy at the school. Prince Fiero, played by Jonathan Bailey. If you guys didn't see that dance number that he did, oh my God, I really kind of like got surprised when I found out that his character eventually becomes the Scarecrow, which harkens to the Michael Jackson who danced all the way through pretty much most of the movie as the Scarecrow in The Wiz. And boy, I mean, it's uncanny how both of these actors can move. And so I would like to kind of harken that, Michael Jackson played the Scarecrow in The Wiz, and that guy, Jonathan Bailey, his character eventually becomes the Scarecrow, which is, the love interest of Elphaba and Ariana Grande, but eventually I think he falls more in love with Elphaba more than Glinda. And that's, the part 2 of the movie that we're still waiting to come out. So do me a favor and leave a comment below if you agree with so far what you've heard me talk about the comparisons to Wicked and The Wiz. Just leave your comment, let me know what you think, and let's move on. Now, Jeff Goldblum plays the wizard in Wicked, and Richard Pryor plays the wizard in The Wiz. And what I like about them both is they're both a fraud, of course, same storyline. And in the one with Richard Pryor, he's really like asking Dorothy for a little hope, and he wants to get along, her to give him some wisdom or whatever, but she's already called him out as a fraud, and there's just no hope for him. And it's almost the same thing in Wicked, except for the Jeff Goldblum character. He's, telling Dorothy, let's just get along, let's, try to work together or whatever. And Elphaba, she sees him as, a big fraud. Like right away, she knows he has no power. He's just full of it, and he's the reason that those animals are all caged up and not able to teach at the school. So that really unleashes something in her, and that I think what helps transform her into the Wicked Witch of the West. So I love the way these stories kind of have similarities. That face of the big mask that comes out at Elphaba and them as Jeff Goldblum's face is the same way that Dorothy in The Wiz, that face looks just like Richard Pryor's face. So I like that kind of little nudge there that they both have that similarity. So it just makes me chuckle a little bit to see those similarities. Tell me what you think. Leave a comment below. I felt like Cynthia Erivo did such an excellent job as Elphaba. I got choked up at so many points in this movie I could barely get through it. I think I watched it like 3 times, and every time I would tear up, at certain points, because I could relate to it as someone who has always felt, like I didn't understand myself from day one, and just growing up feeling awkward as a teenager and feeling like I just don't have a place in this world. And it took me to age 30 to figure out what the problem was, and I just didn't have language for it, and that's what we call transgender. And so I just really saw that, in that character of Elphaba, that, she came out green. She was different from everybody else around her. She didn't understand, why she felt like she was cursed or something like that. And I could just relate to everything. And at every point in her life when she was getting teased at that school, it reminded me of my high school, getting teased all the time. And just going through life, struggling to exist in a world that tells you that something's wrong with you. And I just literally lost it. And I was blown away, just Ariana Grande, just the whole entire cast did such an excellent job just putting this story that came from a stage play into a big cinema, spectacular film that I think the world just really needs to see. And I think it really teaches people that, owning your differences and learning how to love yourself, and that gives you renewed power. It's okay to not fit in and not always fit into the mold of society. What makes us unique and different gives us our powers to thrive, even better out there in the world as our real true selves. We don't have to be someone else in order to, get along in society. Society should, shape itself and make room for those who don't fit into their social norms, because they're just constructs anyway. And I loved it. I absolutely loved this film. And so if you haven't seen it, please go out to the movie theaters and check it out. It's Wicked. It's in the theaters, and it's out on videos, I guess, now too. I'm not sure. But go and see it. And leave a comment below if you liked my little homage to The Wiz. I just wanted it to be included in this storyline because it was such an important film to my childhood, to be able to see people who look like me on stage, in theater, and on film, you know. And this movie is definitely going to be one of my favorites in this current time because I have never seen anything like it before. I really was blown away by Ariana, I can't say her name now, Ariana Grande. I've seen her as a little pop star, and now I'm seeing her as, you know, an actress, as a Broadway. Like, she's, you know, movie cinematic. She did an excellent job. She made me laugh so many times in this film, and she was just an excellent Glinda, the good witch. You know, she was a little wicked in the beginning, being her teasing and everything, but she grew to, you know, become best friends with someone, you know, socially different from her, and just their camaraderie. It was just really beautiful on the screen. It just felt so genuine and so real. I loved it. So thank you guys for listening. I'm going to stop now. Please subscribe to my channel and please share this video. I could use more followers and more support. Thank you again for listening. This is T.S. Ariel Skydoll from the Walt Disney World Parades Parks Magic Kingdom Parade Parks before I got ran off the job for being trans. So if you want to know more about my life and my stories, you got to roll back some videos to get to all the meaty stuff, but the stories are there. And don't forget, I do have ebooks now at lulu.com. It's under Ariel Williams. And thank you, everyone. Goodbye.
A Dying Planet, The Lost Harvest.
In the year 2060, Earth is a shadow of its former self, choked by pollution, endless concrete, and abandoned by nature. Only a small fishing village by the sea has managed to preserve the planet's last untouched forest. In this dying world, June and Win, two young girls and the last children in their village, cling to the remnants of hope and innocence. Win roams the forest, collecting the season's last harvest, while June sings songs that echo with a haunting beauty through the village.
For more, click Linktree in profile.
Bella the Dog from Springfield, A Tale of Truth and Transformation. In the small, charming town of Springfield, Ohio, lived a regal standard poodle named Bella. Bella belonged to Mrs. Vaughn Thursenberg, a well-known figure in the community, always polished, conservative in manner, but a lifelong Democrat. For years, she hosted elegant soirees, engaging in local politics, and treating her home like a kingdom. Bella had grown accustomed to a life of luxury, complete with fancy collars, custom bow ties, and an endless supply of treats from those who adored her. Recently, however, things had changed. Mrs. Vaughn Thursenberg had been watching a lot of Fox News, and it seemed to have swayed her thinking.
For more, click Tree link in profile.
The Dreamer's Crystal Ball. Somewhere in Springfield, Ohio, a little Haitian migrant girl and her mother had just picked fresh berries, nuts, dates, and fruits for the elders of the town. With the money they earned, they eagerly headed to the grocery market, planning to buy vegetables for a hearty deer stew the mother was preparing for that night. But when they arrived, a chaotic scene greeted them.
For more, click Tree link in bio.
The Future, Daughters of Liberty, A Southern Redemption. In the year 2035, a decade after the turbulent implementation of Trump's Project 2025, the Deep South was in chaos. The government-sanctioned trafficking and oppression of marginalized Americans, fueled by systemic poverty, racism, and gender discrimination, had become a dark and horrific reality. Kamala Harris had risen as the nation's beacon of hope, ultimately defeating Trump in a fierce battle for the soul of the country. Her victory brought an end to the Second Civil War.
For more, click Tree link in profile. I told you. What did I tell you? Didn't I tell you? 'Cause I told you. And when did I tell you? A long time ago. And what did I say will happen when I told you? Exactly what just happened.